All right, welcome to Nice Ashes.
I'm Mike.
I'm Nate, and it's rare we're both here in the same space. I'm looking right into Mike's eyes, and we have another guest. Would you like to introduce our third guest?
Yes, our third co-host here is my dog, Evie. She is probably going to be making noise in the background because she's lovingly chewing on a bone.
Yes, she will not be partaking in the cigar smoking.
No, or the whiskey drinking.
Or the beer drinking. But she is partaking in some doggy delights.
Yes, she is.
What are we smoking today, Mike?
These are Diesel Whiskey Rose, which are one of your favorites, I think.
They are, yes.
Yeah.
I quite enjoy these, and I'm glad we get to smoke them on our podcast here.
Absolutely. Well, light up.
Light up. It is nice to be smoking in Mike's patio instead of out in the wilderness.
Yeah, the 17-degree weather that
Yep.
we've been having, which is miserable.
That it is. Well, what are we talking about today as we're smoking these Whiskey Rose?
These Whiskey Rose. Well, I think we were going to talk about N.E.E.T.s, weren't we?
Yeah. N.E.E.T.s or some variation of that acronym.
Some variation. So there's a N.E.E.T. is not in education, employment, or training. And
these are people we're talking about.
These are human beings, yes,
Okay.
people. Usually under 30s. They're typically referring to under 30s.
Okay.
And there's a second one that's called N.L.E.T.s. I'm going to look it up here because it's more specific. Very specific.
They went and dialed it in even closer, huh?
Yes, it's N.L.F.E.T. And that is not in the labor force education or training. And the N.E.E.T.s include people who are unemployed, whereas not in the labor force excludes that number.
Yeah. And so let's clear this up right now. Unemployed is you don't have a job, but you're actively looking for one.
That's correct.
Okay. And then not in the labor force is you don't have a job and you're not looking for one.
You're not looking for one.
Okay. Because I remember back in, I don't know, well, they're doing it now even with the Great Resignation, and they'll say like, the unemployment numbers are dropping, but that could be because people are just giving up too, and that was kind of back in 2008 in that economic downturn. There was some concern that maybe the unemployment rate was being artificially lowered because they weren't including people that just kind of gave up.
Yes. That was the same case in 2009 and 2008, I think.
Yeah, that's what I said. Listen.
Yeah. I was looking up my research here. Looking at my research
giving Mike some grief here.
Yep. So we have a map here of N.E.E.T.s and where they're located. And it's pretty interesting because in the West, we've been propagandized to believe that this population's a problem, right?
Which population?
Well, our population, the N.E.E.T. population, that the lazy man-child's living in his mother's basement is somehow like a phenomenon.
Okay.
And realistically, if you look at the numbers, which you can look right here, the little graph.
And Mike's holding this up to the microphone so you can hopefully see it as well.
I am. But the United States and the Western world does not have that much of a population of these N.E.E.T.s.
Okay.
Not by comparison to...
yeah, it looks like Africa and then China.
Africa and China, yeah.
Have kind of the higher densities there.
Which is crazy. You wouldn't think that China would be the place where they had a bunch of people not working and doing anything at all.
Well, does this count politicians? And oligarchs?
They should. But I really enjoy it because we all know people that are N.E.E.T.s, as they would say.
Yes.
Or N.L.E.F.E.T.
For as low as the population density is, chances are you know at least one.
Absolutely. And according to the stats, the United States has maybe 7% of the adult population in this category, which is not good, but it's not really...
Yeah.
I don't know. I wouldn't consider it an active phenomenon that's going to cause a problem. Eventually, these people will have to find jobs.
Perhaps.
So
how does the typical N.E.E.T. or N.E.F.E.T. live then? How how do they not starve and die of exposure?
See, and that's the thing.
Is that what we're talking about?
These people, even though they're not a huge percentage of the population, they're not really a problem. They're living off their family members because you can't just survive without.
So this could be the 30-something gamer man living in his parents' basement.
Absolutely. It also includes 19-year-olds, and in the UK they consider 16-year-olds, all the way down there because they're in their employment numbers.
Okay.
Yep. Japan actually has a kind of a subculture of neatness. It's really weird.
They have a lot of interesting subcultures over there.
They do.
I know, like what are they? The waifu pillows or whatever they
the
are.
Waifu pillows. Yeah, waifu pillows.
Whatever that is.
Mm-hmm. It's a pillow that's supposed to be like your wife.
Well, I haven't met one of those yet. Even the My Pillow guy.
Oh yeah, My Pillow guy. Oh my God. Mike Lindell.
I don't know how he sells pillows. He's just not the kind of person I want to imagine when I'm laying down.
He's a character and a half. That guy.
So we're about half an inch in.
Yes.
What are we thinking?
It's good. A little harsh, actually.
Yeah, you know what? When you said, "Oh, this is one of your favorites," and I'm like, "This does not taste how I recollect it."
Yeah, I mean, it's they've been in my humidor for a couple months, so it's not that.
No.
They're nice and soft, but they're definitely a little.
Yeah, it's quite a bit harsher, and I remember the last time, and maybe this was just false memories, but I thought that it had a whiskey kind of flavor to it, and I'm not really getting that from this one. So yeah, I don't know what's going on.
Oh, I'm not getting a whiskey flavor from it either.
No. I mean, I'm getting good puffs out of it, but like you said, it's a bit harsh right now.
It definitely is. The ash is good though.
The ash
Look
is
at the
good.
ash. It's
yeah. I'll hold mine up to the mic here.
Yep, you can see
there
it.
You go.
You can see it.
All right, carry on. So they've got Japan has an interesting, neat subculture.
Yes, they do. Apparently, there's a subculture that rejects adulthood, and they just kind of live off their parents. And it's interesting. It's kind of a fight against their gray man. The corporatist in the gray suit. Like we grew up with that sort of imagery. They have that there as well, and it's viewed as these young people who are educated for the most part, just don't want to participate in Japanese labor. Yeah, which I guess has a lot to do with the fact that they work so many hours and But
we kind of do here too. It seems our societal drive or normalcy is, if you work 60 plus hours a week and get no sleep and, devote your entire life to your job, then somehow your company will look out for you. And I think ever since 2008, and beyond, that just doesn't happen anymore. Our parents, had pensions. They had, stayed with one company for their whole lives. And now I think the average, last time I checked, several years ago now, but it was the average person has maybe 8 to 15 different careers. It's not a career, but different jobs. Because the way of the career is kind of dying in our culture.
Oh, for certain. And I've worked for a number of employers, ranging from restaurants to school districts. I've had a lot of different jobs. Job I have now is actually the longest one I've ever had, 4 years. Yeah, that's kind of scary, isn't it?
Mine too. I'm coming up on 7.
Holy smokes! Yeah. I'm over 4, and it's I've never been anywhere.
I know. I'm getting the fight or flight. I gotta get out.
I worked for one company for 3 years before this, and I really liked working for them. But and I enjoyed my job too. Don't get me wrong, but it's definitely interesting. I've never been in N.E.E.T., though. I don't think. No. I've always been in. Even since I was 15, I've been either employed or in college or something.
Yep. Yeah, me as well. ever since graduating college, I'd go back and live with my parents over the summers.
Sure.
But ever since graduating college, haven't been unemployed. I was unemployed for a little bit, for like 2 weeks in between jobs once. But
sure. Well, I've been unemployed when I was doing construction.
Didn't run back and live with the parents there. So
no. When I was unemployed doing construction, I was ice fishing, and I was enjoying being unemployed. Yeah. It was kind of like a vacation between working 70 hours a week and working 70 hours a week again. Yeah. And even then, I was still in education, because I'm pretty sure I was still, last time I was unemployed, I was still in trade school.
So now I'm about an inch in, and I think it's mellowed considerably.
I agree. It's starting to really round out.
Yeah, that first half inch, man, was not
the mighty first half inch. Yeah. So there's a story behind why we're talking about N.E.E.T.s. And it happened a couple months ago. We were talking about someone that we both know.
A mutual acquaintance.
A mutual acquaintance who, through faults of their own, found themselves to be unemployed and not in education, not in training, and wallowing in their own self-pity. So,
more or less, yes.
More or less, yes. Which, it happens. It happens.
Yeah. It's interesting. I think it's all about the attitude, and, you could be a N.E.E.T. or a flip N.E.E.T., whatever the other acronym is.
N.L.F.E.T.
Yeah. Not to be confused with an N.F.T., which we don't know enough about to even begin to talk about on an episode here, but maybe eventually we will.
I know it's a scam. That's what I
know. But the distinction here, it's a legal scam for now.
For now, yes. It's an illegal scam. That's a good way to put it.
Kind of like taxes.
Mm-hmm.
But I think it's the attitude, because, the N.E.E.T.s and associated acronyms can come and be humble, and they can understand that they, are to blame, or even if they're not to blame, certain circumstances may have, throughout whatever may have led them to that, but they are at least self-aware and they can know. And then there's a whole other group of them that don't think they did anything wrong, or they feel wronged by, let's say, people of a different gender or race even, or sexual orientation than them. And those are the people that have held them down and forced them to live like this.
Absolutely. It reminds me of the incel movement, which is, I've always thought was hilarious, involuntarily celibate my ass.
Yeah.
Like, oh, you're a loser and you don't want to, go to the bar or something.
Yeah. Well, you don't have to go to the bar. That's not always a sure thing.
No, it's not always
which bar
a sure
you
thing.
go to.
Yeah, it depends. But they're not interacting. They're not doing that to go and interact with people in real life.
Yeah, and a lot of it kind of comes back to something we've talked about almost every episode, is personal responsibility. And if you're not getting dates, or if you're not whatever, maybe give yourself the sniff check under your armpits, take a shower every once in a while, but I don't want to be, or maybe don't do that, because I don't want to be, yelled at for being a cis man telling everybody that they have to shower and smelling good is beautiful.
Right.
Because it certainly wasn't, probably until like the 1910s, 1920s, I think, when they kind of discovered germs and germ theory and things like that. Because, look at, if you look at any of the pioneers crossing the plains, or you're stuck on a ship crossing the ocean, you're not showering. You're not. You have the heavy wool like coats, and you're walking across with your wig and out to the California Gold Rush. You're not showering. You smell like crap, dude. And kids and women and everybody that was there, and the oxen probably smelled the best. I don't know.
Absolutely. That's there's a lot of evidence to show that during the Middle Ages, people were trying to get clean. They wanted to be clean. That's where
well, perfume kind of took off.
Yes.
Earlier than you might think it would have.
Well, supposedly they had perfume in Roman times, but that was also a society that bathed.
Yes,
daily.
They enjoyed their Roman baths.
Yes.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that's the neat thing. I find it so fascinating.
Yes.
I don't get it. I don't understand why their families don't kick them out of the house.
Well,
I realize they probably end up on the street somewhere.
Well, but some of these N.E.E.T.s, they can be very psychologically manipulative.
Oh, yes.
And I think we should talk about that a little bit because, I don't know, 5-10 years ago maybe, like if you were a social justice warrior, that was like a good thing, right? Like you were out there and you were like, I want to make sure everybody has an equal chance at this or that. You weren't necessarily the equal outcome, but you were the more equal opportunity.
Yep.
But in the past, I don't know how many years now, that term has kind of turned into a slur, like a derogatory, like, there's another social justice warrior, where they just want everyone to forcibly have equal outcomes and equal everything. And if something doesn't shake out equally, then it's whatever group they pick, which is usually white straight men, that are oppressing them. And they'll even lash out at white straight women or just straight people in general, regardless of color, that are holding them down. And there's another term that I found doing some research on our mutual acquaintance, but it's cry bully. It's where they cry foul at an offense that they have imagined in their head against somebody else. So if you say something that this N.E.E.T. or whatever, this cry bully deems offended somebody else in the room, then they will launch on a tirade and try and get you to fall in line because of some offense that they invented in their head, regardless of if this person took offense or not. They'll just take offense on their behalf. And you see this a lot, and there's some news stories where this happens, especially with themed birthday parties. So there was one where a young American girl wanted to do a Japanese themed birthday party. So the parents set it up for him. The mom did it for, they put her in a kimono and all the Japanese things. And then there were some cry bullies online that said, hey, this is, cultural appropriation. And so you had, 100 comments from, white suburban moms saying this is cultural appropriation, this is terrible, blah, blah, blah. And then if you went all the way to the bottom, there was like a Japanese man or somebody that popped on and said, this isn't cultural appropriation. This is great. If you love our culture and want to learn more about it, by all means, go for it.
Absolutely. And we've discussed that before outside of the podcast where a lot of it's confidence in your society. The Japanese people don't need for outsiders to pump up their own culture. So, of course, they're very comfortable with people including themselves in it. The Hmong population in Minnesota is the same way. When we were growing up, which I'm not sure, you kind of were in a different orbit, maybe, but man, people were talking a lot of smack about the Hmong when I was growing up and how they were never going to assimilate and how they were the worst thing ever. And the Hmong gangs were going to, do all the stereotypical racist stuff that people say about.
Yeah, it wasn't so much of that. We didn't really have much diversity where I grew up, but I do remember some talks with some adults. Not that I was really participating in, but that I was just kind of overhearing as a child. Just talking about mostly the Hmongs will eat anything, or they eat the squirrels in the neighborhood. But then they were the same people that telling me that the Chinese restaurants would take stray cats and cook them up in their meals. At the Chinese restaurants, and I never really put any stock in that.
No, I definitely remember people saying, talking about how scary the Hmong gangs were, and now it's like the Hmongs are they have the Hmong festival, Hmong New Year, and it's nice, to go to those little events, different cultural events.
And most big cities have a Chinatown.
Mm-hmm.
They've got the Irish neighborhood. And I think a lot of the Chinese, they celebrate the fact that it's Chinatown and you're there and you can go and experience it because they don't do a whole lot of English. And I remember my dad and I went to New York for a weekend. We went to Chinatown and had a Chinese dinner, and all they had was chopsticks.
Yep.
And my dad didn't know how to use chopsticks, and it's like, well, we're here in Chinatown. They don't have forks. It's you get the chopsticks.
Yep. And rightfully so.
Well, yeah, and I mean, it's neat. Like, I enjoy that.
Absolutely.
But yeah, a lot of people like to cry, cultural appropriation, and it's, well, how am I supposed to enjoy this culture I'm interested in? Or am I supposed to learn more about them if every time I try to, I get labeled a cultural appropriator, or a racist, or whatever it might be.
Well, that's just like the whole dreadlock. People trying to say that dreadlocks are only for black people. And
yeah.
It's like, there's references to people locking their hair in Europe going back forever.
Yeah.
Usually for religious reasons, but nonetheless, it was a known entity in Western culture. And modern dreadlocks that we have in the States are based off of Rastafarianism, but that was taken from Indian culture because they have a couple sects of their religions that lock their hair as a devotion to Shiva or whatever it is. I'm not a Hindu, so I'm not savvy on all that.
Stop appropriating Hinduism.
Which the Indians they don't care. They love it when Westerners went over there. I went over there for a month and went to all the temples, and people were really excited to talk to me.
Yeah.
So
you're there for a month. Oh, for the wedding.
For the wedding, yeah.
Last time you got your haircut.
It was actually the last time I got my haircut. It was for the wedding in 2015, I want to say.
Yeah. So that was pretty neat then.
Oh, it was very cool. Yeah, all the temples and people were extremely excited that a big bearded white guy was coming to their temples out in the middle of nowhere. We were in Varanasi, which isn't in the middle of nowhere. It's like the holiest city in Hinduism.
Yeah,
but it's not a place where tourists go for the most part.
Yeah, it's off the beaten.
It's off the beaten path.
Tourist path.
Yeah, my buddy's cousins, they had never met a white person before, and my buddy Jordan and I were kind of like circus animals at their wedding.
Nice.
Yeah, because they had certainly never met two light-skinned, bearded, light-haired guys.
Yeah. What white person tricks did you do? Did you do the khaki shorts and socks with sandals?
No, I didn't. No, I should have. I wore an ascot. That was my white guy trick.
Yeah. You didn't do the fanny pack or the I think I have a coupon for that.
No, I didn't.
Let me talk to your manager at the temple.
No, I had my roll top bag and very cosmopolitan, I guess. None of those guys, they actually thought my bag was dirty. They kept on telling me that my bag was dirty. And have you seen my roll top?
No.
It's waxed canvas.
Oh, okay.
They're like, oh, it's dirty. And I'm like, no, it's waterproof.
Yeah.
Because they just don't have waxed canvas there.
Yeah.
Yeah. Which is good. We have our third host is here now, if you couldn't hear her.
Ready for petting.
She is ready for petting. So, well, I'm about halfway through.
Me as well. I think we're both
we're
pretty
similar.
Similar there.
And I like it.
I like it. It's not as good as I remember, though. I don't know. Maybe I just latch onto the whiskey,
Maybe. I like it, though.
It's good. It's good. It's more mellow, I guess, than I kind of remember.
Oh, okay. Oh, I like it.
Yeah, it's good.
It's not a bad stick. Worth the money I paid for it.
Yeah.
This I got as most of my cigars that I order online, I always get a part of a sale, and I think I spent I don't know, maybe $4 a stick or something like that for these, because I got a big bundle.
Yeah.
But
yeah, most of the sales you can get some pretty good things for $15 for like a 5-pack or
something like that.
So, yeah.
Some of them are 20. All depends.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a good one. It's not as whiskey-y as I remember.
No, well, we're drinking brandy, so that probably doesn't help either.
Yeah, but I don't know that you want to drink whiskey with a whiskey cigar either.
Probably not. Who knows? So, I'm no expert.
Yep, I'm no expert either. Please listen to our podcast about cigars and all we know about them. Mm-hmm. But I did, we did place a order each, and I put mine in the freezer, like we talked about last episode.
Yep.
And I guess you have to let them thaw before you try and light them up, though. No, I'm just kidding.
No, they're resting. I think.
Yeah, I put them in a separate humidor even, just so I would not go in there and touch them. So they'll be sealed in there for quite a while.
Yeah, at least another couple of weeks.
So, but we both enjoy the boveda bags, and I have to tell you a little boveda bag story. So I got my humidor that I've had at most consistently the right humidity was part of the, not a sponsor, Pipe and Cigars intro pack, where it's like $49. You get the glass top wooden humidor, and you get like 5 cigars. And
10.
Is it 10?
It was 10.
10.
I
okay.
remember specifically because it was such a good deal.
10 cigars. It's a crazy good deal. We don't have a coupon code for you or anything, but
I think they raised it up to 80 now.
Oh, did they?
Yeah, I think so.
Even so, it's a deal.
Yeah, I mean, even at 80, it's a good deal.
Even at 80, it's a good deal. But I tell you what, they came with the instructions on how to condition the humidor. I followed them exactly, and the thing's been rocking, 68 to 74% I've had this now for almost 2 years.
Right.
And I've never used a boveda bag. I just put in some of the humidor juice in the puck, and it just sits at that humidity. And then it was a little high though. It was like almost 80% humidity last week. And so I thought, well, I'll just toss a boveda bag in there because it's a two-way thing. And I tossed the boveda bag in one of the other ones that's kind of sat around 50 or 60% humidity. And I checked it the next day, and my pipes and cigar humidor was at 90% humidity. So I'm like, oh my God, I got to get that boveda bag out of there. And so I just put 2 boveda bags in the other one because that was still at only like 62. Mm-hmm. And they're 72% boveda bags.
Mine are 72. I'm not sure what you have.
I have a 72% boveda bags because I looked and I'm like, this shouldn't be at 80 or 90% humidity. But now I put 2 of them in the other one with the freezer resting cigars. So I'll have to check when I get back home and see what the humidity is on there. But
we'll see. Your calibration might be off on your what is it?
Well, the one's a digital. It's got digital, so
interesting.
It should be fine. But I did the same process to condition that one, and then the one that I got from my mom, and both of those have just been low humidity. I don't know why. But the one that I got from my mom had sat in a basement for a long time with nothing in it. So maybe it's really dried out. I don't know.
Well, you could always try the 84s. They're supposed to season it.
Oh, okay.
I've never had to do that. I've always just put them empty and then just let the humidifier juice kind of permeate for a couple weeks.
Yeah. So I might mess around with it more. For the longest time, I haven't had enough cigars to warrant even owning 3 humidors, but now I couldn't fit all of them into the one. So it's nice to have more, and it's nicer to have more that are calibrated and at the right humidity.
Absolutely. Yeah. Especially the more you collect them.
Yep.
I need to burn through some of my cigars. I was going through my big humidor today, and it's like, oh my God, I got to smoke, I guess.
Well, that's why we started this.
Yeah, it's a terrible, terrible problem to have.
Yeah, we had to start a podcast so we would both force ourselves to smoke the cigars that we have.
Mm-hmm. It's a good excuse.
Good excuse as any.
It's a good excuse. So.
Yeah.
Yeah. My goodness. This is actually turning out to be a pretty good cigar.
Yeah, I enjoy it.
Yeah.
I'm just saying it's different than I remember, but not necessarily in a bad way.
Sure.
Because I don't know that you'd want one overly flavored either. We're going to do a flavor test off with the
CAO flavors.
Yeah, the CAO flavors. We're going to do a flavor test off, probably over however many flavors they have is how many episodes it will go over.
I think there's 4.
4. Okay, so we'll do a 4 episode flavored smoke off or something.
We also have the Blood Red Moon to try out, and that's I've never had one. I smoked the pipe tobacco, and it's wonderful. So I was like, well, the cigar, if it's as good as the pipe tobacco, this will be great.
Yeah. Yeah, I haven't really done many flavored cigars, except for I think one time I was young and dumb and really hard up for like a cigar smoke, and I did one of the Swisher Sweets, and it was gross.
Yeah,
it was gross.
Grape.
Yeah, I think it was grape. Cough syrup in a stick.
Yeah, it's not a fan of the Swishers.
Nope.
My dad smoked wood tips when he went fishing when I was younger.
Okay.
And it's like, ick. Not for me, but...
Yep.
My dog is playing with the screen door right now, just so our listeners know.
Sorry, that's our third co-host.
Yeah, our third co-host, Evie. So, well, how was your week?
Been all right. A lot of cold in the house. So our daughter was sick for the first part of the week, and then they gave it to me. So been doing the cough syrup, not in the Swisher form, but
the real stuff.
The other form. But my taste is back. I might sound a little nasally or congested today, but
it happens.
Oh well. What about you?
No, it's good. We bowling's over. We won the one league. The other league was a total disaster, which is fine. The bowling state tournament, we ended up in 6th.
Excellent.
At least as of that shift, they're still going on now. So we might not be in the money at all. I think they paid the top 30.
Okay.
But
it'd be quite a drop, though. I mean, 6th.
It'd be quite a drop if we went from 6th to 31. Yeah.
Do you watch it on like TV? Do they announce it?
No.
Get your bowling team together, and you're like, yeah or no.
Actually, one of my buddies that works at that bowling alley that they're holding it at. So I'm sure if we drop,
he'll probably tell you.
He'll let us know. Yeah.
You've got an insider.
Yeah, we do. We have an inside man. Yeah.
Yep.
But no, it was good. Been busy, like always. Too busy. I'm glad that we'll be having some weekends off now and some weekdays off.
Now, if Minnesota would warm up, I mean, you're going to be hearing this a couple weeks later, but right now it's middle of April and it's just cold.
Very cold. Very cold.
We haven't really had the spring warm up yet.
No. We had mud, but it was like 35 degrees.
Yeah, 35 degree mud. It's not fun for anybody. Not even my toddler.
This was not. The dog loves it.
Yeah.
But she doesn't like that I wipe her off every time she comes in the house.
Yeah. Is that why you wiped me off when I showed up?
Yeah. It's habits die hard.
Force of habit.
Yeah. It's so funny because the dog loves me. She initially loved Sarah.
Yes.
And then she switched her affections over to me. And now she won't listen to her sometimes. It's so funny. She gets so mad. It's like, well, I don't know what to tell you. You just got to work on it.
Spend time.
Yep. Spend time with the dog.
Yeah. Be patient. Spend time.
Yep.
Yeah.
So it's
very similar to a toddler,
Right.
Not that I'm always patient, but I try to be patient. And actually, I don't know if we talked about this before, but I read a lot of books, and parenting books are some of them. And I got recommended one, and it was written probably in the 80s, and they were talking about disciplining your child and when you should spank your child and things like that. And so they were like, yep, whenever your child forgets basic German Shepherd, then you can spank them. And I'm like, okay, so 1, you're advocating spanking. 2, you're comparing your child to a German Shepherd. And they're like, so basic German Shepherd is sit, stay, come. They didn't include roll over for whatever reason. I mean, they might as well have. Mm-hmm. And then they had like this really weird age range that spanking was appropriate. And then they're like, well, when they're older than this, then spanking doesn't really do anything. And it's like, well, I thought the studies came out and spanking doesn't do anything anyway, except make you like an asshole. Well, we've got our third co-host, and she found a deer leg.
She found a deer leg.
A white-tailed deer leg.
I'm guessing from the deer my nephew shot.
Yes, but it does look tasty.
Yes, it does.
Let me tell you.
Well, I guess we're going to have a commercial break.
Commercial break.
Well, we're back.
We're back. Mike's back from washing his hands. He did not want a venison-flavored cigar.
I did not.
Did you just toss that on the roof so the dog can't get it, or?
Yeah, I threw it in the garbage. We've had the same gut pile since 1994. So she obviously found it.
And then marked it on her doggy GPS.
Yes, and marked it on her doggy GPS. I think that's the third leg she's brought up in the last 2 weeks.
No, how many legs do deer typically have, Mike?
Yeah, they have 4.
So you've got one more in your future.
One more in the future, yeah. And she found antlers, too. She found some sheds. I'm guessing right outside the house, because the deer like to hang out here during the wintertime, because they know that they're safe. But, yeah, she brought up a little 5-pointer.
Okay.
Yeah.
Did both sides or just one?
No, just the one. Yeah. It was a shed.
You could train her to find them.
Probably. She really liked it, I can tell you that.
Yeah.
She was a fan.
Yes. Yeah, well, Mike was gone messing with deer parts. I was furiously smoking to try and match his smoke rate. So then we'd have about the same amount left when he came back.
And it was effective.
It was.
It was pretty effective.
That move was effective.
Yes. Yours is a lighter color than mine, isn't it?
Slightly.
It is slightly lighter. Interesting.
Yeah.
Do better, Diesel.
Yeah. Maybe mine was sun bleached or something.
Maybe. I don't think so, though. They weren't in that humidor. They were in my humidor downstairs. Oh, geez.
Yeah. All right. Do we have final thoughts on N.E.E.T.s and N.F.L.T.s?
Sure. I mean, I think that it's funny for an outsider, but I think a lot of it's the mental health issues, and people are allowing their children to abuse them largely.
Yeah, or allowing their children and grandchildren to continue to be children for much longer than they should be.
Right.
Yeah. But you know what? Like, honestly, you can still be an adult and have an awful lot of fun in life. I mean, you don't have to be stuck up and have no fun and work all the time.
Right.
You can be a fun person as an adult.
Right.
I mean, a lot of the things that adults have to do aren't fun. But that doesn't mean that you have to also not be fun.
Right.
And I did see something, a tweet or a meme or something. I don't really scroll Twitter or anything, but I do look at memes from time to time. And one kind of came up that was interesting, and I'd love to hear your thoughts on it.
Okay.
See, when I'm sick, I can do kind of my like sultry radio voice and be like, "Hey, Mike, what's your thoughts on this?" I don't know if that was sultry or not, but you have to tell me.
Very sultry.
Okay.
Very sultry.
It was something like depression is a societal, or let me see how I went. Depression is a society. Fuck. All right, composure. No, society is a depression. No, that wasn't it. Depression is a societally acceptable mental health condition.
Okay. Why would you say that? Or what was the point of the meme?
I wouldn't have said that.
No,
well, I think it was just like, and maybe, I don't know. The kind of the way I took it was like, if someone's depressed, usually people say, they're depressed. But they never really say, hey, what can I do to help you? Is there anything that you need? I mean, it depends on your friend group for sure, and depends on who you're around. But I think it was that maybe so many people are depressed that it's just a fact of life in our society and is not enough to cause a red flag. Perhaps.
I would agree with that.
There's one more thing I wanted to talk to you about. The question is, do you want to talk about it this episode or next episode?
Well, from the look on your face, I'm guessing it's going to be next episode.
Okay, let's do it next episode. We're going to talk next episode. We're going to talk about the Brooklyn subway shooting.
Oh, and I don't know anything about it.
All right, we're going to talk about that, and we're going to talk about the World Rock Paper Scissors Championship.
Yes, and I don't know anything about that, and that sounds wonderful.
And we're going to talk about both those things. This is going to be a little bit shorter episode. We're just going to wrap up now. We're almost done with our cigars. We can do our final thoughts on these cigars, and then we'll cut you loose.
Well, I think that they started off pretty harsh. Yeah, I was really disappointed. I was like, oh, no.
I thought it was going to be a long slog to get through this stick.
But it turned out to be pretty good. Right now, I'm in the last 2 inches. and it's good.
Yeah, outside of that first half inch, I would smoke this way before smoking that bin Maduro that we had.
Yes.
This is a nice. It's a lot lighter, I think. This one.
Yes, it's lighter and it's got a more complex flavor profile.
Yes, and it's very smooth. Outside of that first half inch where it was, where we both looked at each other like, "What are we smoking?"
Yeah.
But power through, you'll enjoy it.
Yes,
don't know that this is still my favorite after revisiting it.
Well, it's not the La Gloria Cubana.
That is true.
That was cigar.
Fantastic.
I like that even better than the Flathead, and I like those Flatheads. They're great.
Yeah, that one's been the favorite one we've smoked so far on the show.
I think so.
Yeah.
So next time we're gonna smoke a tequila cigar.
We're gonna talk about the subway shooting and rock paper scissors.
Championship.
All right. Thanks for listening.